Iyuko po natin ang ating mga ulo para sa isang panalangin. Panginoon, kami po ay nagpapasalamat sa husay, galing at dedikasyon ng mga taong naging bahagi ng laman ng aming SBM na ito. Amin pong ipinauubaya sa inyo ang araw na ito para po sa maayos na daloy ng aming presentasyon. Gabayan mo po kami at bigyan ng karunungan upang maging kampante ang aming kalooban sa mga oras na ito. Ang lahat ng ito ay aming idinadalangin sa iyong matamis na pangalan, Panginoon. Amen.
Good afternoon, Sadges community.
Thank you, Maydang. At this time, let us get to know the people who took part in Sadges school-based management as Sir Christian James B. Arenas introduced the technical working group.
Good afternoon, Sadges community. This is the school-based management for the school year 2020. Technical Working Group. Overall Chairman, Mr. Jean Francis B. De La Cruz. SBM Coordinator, Mr. Mark Wilson Q. Ginga. SBM Principal 1 Leadership and Governance, Chairperson, Mrs. Rhea C. Pasaol. Vice Chairperson, Mrs. Rosalie L. Serrano. SBM Principal 2 Curriculum and Learning, Chairperson, Mr. Francisco P. Pronda III. Vice Chairperson, Ms. Miriam O. Pingol. SBM Principal 3 Accountability and Continuous Improvement, Chairperson, yours truly, Mr. Christian James B. Arenas. Vice Chairperson, Ms. Patricia Damian R. Boneo. SBM Principal 4 Management and Resources, Chairperson, Mrs. Maria Gina B. Carbos. Vice Chairperson, Ms. Lady Marian G. Berhel. Here with us today, our GPTA President, Mrs. Jennifer C. Draculan, our SGC Chairperson, Honorable Celsi De La Cruz, our SPG President, Natasha Cunanan. We have also here the Sadges Teaching and Non-Teaching Force, headed by the four master teachers, Dr. Madonna G. Asibuche, Mr. Aniceto T. Balongkas, Mrs. Maria Teresa T. Damiar, and Mrs. Elsa A. Salguero. It's an honor to be with us today. Volunteers from Armed Forces of the Philippines, let's all welcome. Second Lieutenant Larnie Rose S. Bragis, Deputy S1 of 701 Philcom Signal Battalion, and Major Nicodemus de Guzman Pa, Group Commander, 103rd Technical and Administrative Service, 1st Technical and Administrative Brigade. Thank you for having you all as part of our stakeholders. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you. God bless us all.
Thank you, sir. We are fortunate to have these people with us today in our activity. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to introduce our panelists. The first member is our Education Program Supervisor in English, none other than Dr. Winnie F. Tugade. Good day, Doc. The second member is our Education Program Specialist in Planning and Research. Let's give it up for Dr. Arnel L. Poha. Good day, sir. The third member is our Project Development Officer 2, none other than Mr. Edwin C. Pineda. Good day, sir. Let's also welcome our District Supervisor in Unit 1, Dr. Edna L. Llanera. Welcome, Madam and Sirs. Once again, a virtual clap for our panelists. At this juncture, may I call on our principal, the ever-dynamic Sir Jean Francis V. De La Cruz, to present the SBM online dashboard. Take it away, sir.
Thank you, Ma'am Patty. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Sadges community. Good afternoon, our dearest panelists. In behalf of our SBM team, I have the honor to present to you the School Basic Education Learning and Continuity Plan. For ready references, may I show to you our first dashboard in SBM, the Planning SY 2020-2021, our SBM dashboard number 2, our Implementation SY 2020-2021, our third dashboard, where we put our school-based management dimensions 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the corresponding MOVs and artifacts. We also have our dashboard number 4, where we put all our programs, projects, and activities regularly updated and maintained by our SPM team. For secondary references, we used to have a monitoring platform for our teachers' accomplishment reports maintained and operated by their master teachers and their teachers across all grade levels. We have for grades 1 and 2, we have for grades 3 and 5, we have for kindergarten and grade 6, as well as in grades 4 and the SSES. We used to have a Sadges Learning Management System SY 2020-2021, a Google form of a drive, where our master teachers and their teachers upload, post, and even edit, monitoring, work with plans, idlars, video pabasa, other MOVs for their IPCRF 2020-2021, video lessons, additional materials, and even instructional designs. The school also has its own YouTube channel, the Santiago A. de Guzman Elementary School YouTube channel. We also have our official Facebook page at Santiago de Guzman ES, as well as our official webpage, Santiago de Guzman ES.DepEdValenzuela.ph. And also we have our sadges.wixsite.com/website. To begin, in our school before this pandemic, we used to have active stakeholders enjoying our school-based programs and activities, where we have regular assemblies among our parents, teachers, and pupils. We used to have child-friendly events fostering gender development. Even our local government initiated programs in sports, parenting, literacy, and numeracy. Also, we have productive learning and development programs amongst us teachers through our regular meeting of the minds in our learning action cells. We concentrate on trainings in ICT and 21st century teaching strategies, as well as support mechanisms coming from our national to the division, even in our district level. And then this pandemic happened. So we planned. First plan, we call it override. We propose for the creation and establishment of School COVID-19 Task Force, or the School Performance and Management Team 2020. Its date of implementation was proposed to be on April 1 to 5, 2020, with proposed indicators having 100% of the members of the school force whom are informed and willing to operate observing standard health and local protocols. Plan number 2, activate. We propose for the establishment and activation of online platforms for enrollment, virtual orientations, infographics videos, and offline hotlines. Date of implementation, May 25 to June 30. We propose and hope for a 100% fully functionality across all platforms, be it online or offline, whichever are accessible to reach at least 90 to 100% of our targeted then 1,800 enrollees. Plan number 3, monitor. We propose for the creation and establishment of an online platform, the use of Padlet, for monitoring weekly accomplishment outputs of our teachers. Implemented last June 1, 2020, a proposed 100% fully functionality across our 50 teachers whom will be able to access, contribute, and participate in the said Padlet. Plan number 4, assign. We proposed programs for teachers, their class programs, teaching loads, and other assignments. Date of implementation was proposed June 15 to 30, 2020, with proposed indicators, class programs, and assignments already distributed to then our 50 teachers. Plan number 5, Meet. We propose on the conduct of School Learning Action Cells webinar series every Fridays 2 in the afternoon. Implemented June 19 to September 25, 2020, we hope then for a 75% participation among our teachers, 100% contributions by them as resource speakers, also with the master teachers, activity, and completion report for each succeeding school webinar series. Plan number 6, Select. We proposed for the conduct of virtual screening examinations and orientation for incoming grade 1 pupils of the special science program, hoping that we can select 35 passers for the program on June 1 to July 15, 2020. Plan number 7, Update. We propose for the updating and maximization of the school websites, Facebook page, and other platforms with focus on learning pockets and the most essential learning competencies. Proposed to be implemented July 1, 2020, ongoing. All intended materials for distribution is readily available in all our online platforms as well in the school's LRMDS section. Plan number 8, Converge. We propose for the conduct of coordination meetings with our homeroom PTAs, general PTAs, our SGC School Governing Council members, as well as other key stakeholders in preparation for the incoming activities of the school, as well in conducting our virtual stakeholders convergences. To be started May 25, 2020, ongoing, we hope for a 75% participation to meetings from each grade levels and organizations or group invited. Plan number 9, Coordinate. We propose for the conduct of meetings with the barangay in preparation for the distribution of learning packets, with a 75% participation to meetings from each organizations or group invited. Plan number 10, we plan to print, procure, and deliver learning packets. Proposed starting July 16, 2020, ongoing, hoping that 100% of all the materials printed and sorted for a 1:1 pupil learners packet ratio. Plan number 11, Orient. We proposed for the orientations among our pupils, parents, and even teachers in preparation for the Valenzuela Live and conduct of simulation classes via our organized messenger rooms. Starting August 1, ongoing, we propose or hope that 100% of all our enrolled pupils are oriented and are ready to participate ongoing in the beginning of their classes up to now through online, offline platforms, streaming, and even broadcasting sites as well as those visited in their households. Plan number 12, Distribute. We propose that learning packets to be delivered or distributed to our learners via all possible modes of delivery, be it offline and online, as well as establishment of a clear mechanism for the pick-up and consolidation of all materials and learners' portfolios. To start August 1, ongoing. And finally, our last plan, monitoring of our teachers and pupils' participation to the modular study program, be it offline and online. Starting August 24, ongoing, we propose and hope for a 75 to 100% of our teaching and learning activities to be monitored through the messenger groups, the SMS groups, Google Drives and Docs, existing tablets, and other online platforms of the school and the division offices. So that's for our planning. And then, for our implementation, we proposed and we act. During the pandemic, our baseline data first is enrollment. So the current trend in our school's enrollment average in the last 4 years is 1,778. This school year 2020-2021, our enrollment was at 2,179 with an increase rate of 22.55%. So, with this data, we were able to observe using our LBM1 decision tree of our 2,179 learners. We created 3 groups or divisions with operational division of resources such as ability for allowances, access to ICT, or basically the capacity or the means of our learners to produce reports, tasks, or outputs. The big group, the enough resources, the total 1,142, most of these learners have parents who have stable job or income, or basically say they can survive this pandemic. They have a good source of internet connectivity. They have good sources of ICT, and they are easily able to continue and participate in the virtual or online platforms of the school's distance learning modality. For the second group, the limited resources, 357 of which say they can, but sometimes they cannot. Sometimes they can connect, but sometimes they cannot connect to the internet. Some of their parents lost their jobs during the pandemic. Some have or don't have a stable source of income to continue with this pandemic. The third group, a 680, saying they don't have such resources to continue with their studies. Why? Most of the parents in these groups lost their job during the pandemic. Even before the pandemic, they don't have a steady source of income, thereby limiting their capacity for internet connectivity and other resources as well. Last fiscal year 2020, this is a summary of our funding sources, the amount that we spent doing school operations and services, where 20.97% or 1.488 million came from donations from our very blessed, humble parents, supporters, and donors, adding up to our school fund MOOE at 1,220,750 pesos, comprising 17.20%, a small amount from our canteen from January to March at 0.34%, amounting only to 23,885. The big bulk of our spendings or our source of fund came from our very supportive local government at 61.49% or 4.365 million. Most of this budget went directly to the repair and rehabilitation of our third floor because of the rusting roofs and ceilings. Some went to the distributed smartphones provided to our learners, and mostly are as well as donations and supports to the school. Last year's fiscal year 2020 spending using our school MOE, the big bulk, 60%, 637,950 pesos, 80 centavos, of which 85.57% went directly to the printing, sorting, and delivery of our printed modules. 16% went to the supplies of our teachers, 201,968.90. Fidelity bond premiums, 29,400, 2%. school supplies expenses that went directly to purchasing or procuring, DRRMC, ICT, and pandemic-related amounting to 181,639.30 centavos, or that is 15%. 6% went to office supplies expenses procurement at 69,148. Our teachers' reimbursement for their communications expenses amounting to 68,255 or 6%, and 3% allotted to our telephone and internet expenses at 32,388 pesos. So these were our baseline data. To continue, again, for first plan number 1, it is related to our SBM Dimension Leadership and Governance Indicators 1, 2, and 3 artifacts and MOVs, as well in our SBM Dimension 2 Curriculum and Learning Indicators 4 and 7, and also to SBM Dimension 3 Accountability and Continuous Improvement Indicators 1, 2, and 3 MOVs and artifacts. And since its activation, our members increased from 11 to 28 teaching and non-teaching personnel, or that is around 233% as the school task force performing a very outstanding and extraordinary functions. So, because of the created and activated school committee tasked to override certain services and systems of operations, we were able to make certain adjustments, such as we converted basic services usually conducted face-to-face to be available online. We also created a skeletal workforce for continued school operations. We coordinated with our higher offices for possible support and assistance, and shared governance among parents and community leaders. The composition of our executive school COVID-19 task force. The teams: administration, data management, ICT, COVID-related, performance management team. Our mental health team, infographics and video lesson team, our teams for the school Facebook Messenger groups and all communication platforms, as well as the ASP and Nanay teachers team, and finally our SLAC webinars team. Thank you, guys. For our plan number 2, it is related to our SBM Dimensions 1 with indicators 2, 4, and 5 MOVs and artifacts. Connected also to our SBM Dimension 2 MOVs artifacts under indicators 4 and 6. SBM Dimension 3, indicator 5. SBM Dimension 4, Indicator 5, and since its implementation, 100% are fully functional. All platforms, be it online or offline, are accessible and regularly updated in reaching all our learners, together as well with our internal and external stakeholders. With this, we were able to create a virtual relationship with our school community. Third plan, which is connected to our SBM Dimension artifacts indicators 3 and 5, SBM Dimension 2 Curriculum and Learning Indicators 1, 2, and 3, as well in Indicators 4 and 5 of SBM 2, and SBM Dimension 3 Indicator number 4. And since its implementation, 100% are fully functional, where I'm happy and we're happy because 50 of our teachers, all of them, are regularly submitting, participating, and even contributing in the Padlet, as well in other school-based virtual storages platforms. So with this kind of establishment, we were able to create a relationship of support with our teachers amongst us, maximizing our use of our common online storages and portals for our outputs and reports as teachers. For the fourth plan, it is related to our SBM Dimension 1 Artifacts MOPs Indicator number 3. And since its implementation, our class programs and load assignments are regularly updated, of course with coherence in the Valenzuela Live, as well as with our teachers performing their synchronous and asynchronous classes. The school organization, led by their 4 ever-outstanding master teachers, Dr. Asibuche, Dr. Balungkas, Mrs. Salguero, and Mrs. Damiar. A copy of our class programs, plan number 5, we connected it to our SBM Dimension 2 Artifacts Indicator number 4. And since its implementation, the school already conducted 13 virtual learning action cells, our Friday webinar series. Since then, with 98% participation, and currently with 94.66 progress in terms of our teachers' feedbacking and evaluation ratings or scores. This graph shows the number of virtual professional trainings or workshops attended by our teachers. And it is happy to note that currently, our teachers have participated in a total of 147 virtual seminars, trainings, and workshops, with 32 of which are organized by our DepEd through its national, regional, and division offices, while 100 of which attended came from non-DepEd organizations. Also to mention is the engagement of our teachers in doing their action researches, and currently 12 of them are submitting their proposals. Also, 4 teachers have already completed their research last school year, while 2 have their ongoing investigations. This graph reveals a 36% participation of our teachers in doing their action research and studies. For the conduct of our virtual screening examination, it is connected to our SBM Dimension 1 Leadership and Governance Indicator number 3. And since its implementation, we were able to select the 35 passers out of the 187 examinees, and now happily enrolled and enjoying as grade 1 pupils of the Special Science program. For our plan number 7, it is related to our SBM Dimension Artifacts number 5, SBM Dimension number 2 Indicators 2 and 3 Artifacts, also SBM 2 Indicators 4 and 5 Artifacts, SBM number 3 Accountability and Continuous Improvement Indicators 4 and 5, and since its implementation, all intended materials were distributed and are readily available in all our online platforms, as well as in the school LRMDS section, where our teachers have copies to share with their pupils or parents as well. For our 8th plan, we relate it to our SBM Dimension Artifacts Indicators 1 and 4, SBM Dimension Indicator 6, SBM Dimension Accountability and Continuous Improvement Indicators 3 and 5, SBM Dimension 4 Indicators 2 and 5. Because of such virtual stakeholders convergences, we were able to create a strong relationship with our school community. And since its implementation, we already conducted 13 virtual stakeholders convergences, usually live streamed via our official Facebook page, with an average of 3,477 views. The links can be seen from our Facebook page. All the URL links of our 13 virtual stakeholders' convergences. We invite you to watch it or those videos. For our plan number 9, it is related to our SBM Dimension 3 artifacts, indicators 3 and 5. And since its implementation, we are happy to report that aside from the 100% participation to meetings, our school has a direct channel. Thank you, Kapitan. Thank you, our barangay kagawad and barangay officials, for providing us with school services or service vehicles, even assistance, and a regular 4-member maintenance team operating every day in our school with an outstanding performance. For plan number 10, we connect it to our SBM Dimension 4 artifacts, indicators number 1, and since its distribution, all our learners have been provided with printed modules both for the first and the second quarters. For plan number 11, we connected it to our SBM Dimension number 1, indicators number 3 artifacts, SBM Dimension number 2, indicators number 6, and since its implementation, all of our enrolled pupils are already reached out by their teachers, oriented, and are participating currently from the beginning to now in their school classes through be it online or offline platforms, streaming and broadcasting sites, as well as those visited in their households. So currently, there were 865 of our 874 grades 4, 5, and 6, or that is around 98.97% of our learners monitored by their teachers participating in the Valenzuela Live. Interviews by their teachers and corresponding follow-ups reveal that they have poor connectivity as well as limitations in resources as top reasons for not attending regularly in the program. For plan number 12, it is related to our SBM number 4, indicator number 1. And since its distribution, again, our learners have been provided with printed modules both for the first and second quarter. And finally, for the last plan, through monitoring of teachers and pupils' participation, we included it in our SDM Dimension Indicators 5 and SBM Dimension 2 Indicator number 1. And since its activation, 100% of our teachers and their learning activities were monitored through our messenger groups, SMS groups, Google Drives and Docs, existing Padlets, and other online platforms of the school and our official division activity tools in their offices. This graph shows the number of our learners attending in the virtual or follow-up classes, and currently in our enrollment, there were 2,134 of the entire population, around 97.93% of our learners monitored by their teachers participating in their virtual or even follow-up classes. Interviews reveal poor connectivity as well as those reasons for the 45 learners not regularly attending in their classes. There you have our 13 plans with accomplishments. Now, moving forward, currently, there were 66 out of our strong enrollment, or that is around 3.02%, learners regularly assisted by their teachers through text messaging or call. Interviews again reveals poor connectivity as well as limitations in resources as top reasons by the learners for not regularly attending in the virtual or follow-up classes, with grade 1 with the most number of 32 assisted by their teachers in the corresponding grade level. Also, we have another data, learners provided by their teachers with home visit assistance. And currently, there were 87 out of our population of learners, or that is around 3.99%, provided with home visit assistance by their teachers. And interviews also reveals poor connectivity as well as limitations in resources as top reasons by our learners for not regularly attending in the virtual, be it follow-up classes or even via 3G SMS or calls platform. Grade 1 visited most learners. I am happy to report that in its third year of implementation, our very blessed and humbled sponsors, with our support and help from our GPTA and together with their HPTA, provided free, yes, free internet loads and subscriptions. Yes, you heard it, promised to our learners until the end of the school year. This data reveals or shows that we have 122 beneficiaries across all the grade levels, of which were also being provided by smartphones by the LGU, and the other 76 have existing phones. Thank you, GPTA. Thank you, our parent sponsors. New sets of data. We have our struggling learners across all their discipline areas for the kindergarten as of February 11, 2021. With expressive language having the most struggled learners. We also have sets of data for our struggling learners from grades 1 to grade 3, with grade 1 with the most number of struggling learners across all their subjects, 38. Grade 2, number 8 or 18 learners have difficulties or are struggling in the subject mathematics. We also have struggling learners for grades 4 to 6, where grade 6, 41 of them have struggles in mathematics. For grades 5, they have struggles in the subject science, 35 of them. For grade 4, 8 in mathematics. Also, on the continuing Nanay Teacher Enhancement Program, our parents are happily engaged, and as of February 11, 2021, we have our parents in the grades kindergarten, grade 1, 2, and 3, participating from weeks 1 to week 6. For our school MOE proposed allocations for FY 2021, we propose the following: printing expenses, teacher supplies, fidelity bond premiums, DRRMC, ICT, and pandemic-related office supplies, and hoping for reimbursement to our teachers' expenses in communications, telephone, and internet expenses. But comparing it to our previous spendings last year versus our this year's allocation, it is worth noting that we are going to increase, hopefully, our reimbursement for teachers' communications expenses and supplies for our teachers, and also decreasing our expenses for the printing of our packets. My dear Sadges community and my dear panelists, this pandemic, we were blessed that resulted in our community helping our schools' pupils with limited or no resources at all. We were aided by a strong number of parent volunteers, community members with free internet supplies, subscriptions. Even our teachers are volunteering. And the most essential of all is the volunteer hours. We also maximize our relationship with the government. They have assisted us in providing us with materials, supplies, equipment, trainings, and services, again by our ever supportive local government as well as our DepEd higher offices. To sum up, while we were building connections, many gaps were addressed. 29 parents attended the NTEP and currently will attend more. Donations, support funds from the LGU, MOE allocations in these pandemic times, 266 learners with phones, 66 learners already called or texted by their teachers, 87 learners visited by their teachers, 122 learners provided by our supportive parents with free load subscriptions, 2,179 learners with printed modules, 13 virtual stakeholders convergences, and the most 7,088 strong volunteers. Truly and magnificent. We are overwhelmed. Santiago A. de Guzman Elementary School, our strength is in numbers. To last, may I dedicate to you the SBM team's special presentation. Thank you for sharing your time, dearest Sadges community and our dearest panel. For our school MOE proposed allocations for FY.
Thank you very much, Sir Jean. We are now open for questions and suggestions from our dear panelists. Mom and sirs.
Okay. Good afternoon po, fellow public servants, to our internal and external stakeholders of Santiago A. de Guzman Elementary School. Good afternoon to the ever dynamic leader of Sadges, Sir Francis de la Cruz, and to the Public Schools District Supervisor, Ma'am Edna Lianera. Good afternoon po. This is a great wow. Okay? It's a great wow with a W, O, W. I can say this is a work with an outstanding and wondrous projects, programs, and activities. Congratulations to the school head and the district supervisor and to all the stakeholders. I have to admit, I was so mesmerized with this panoramic presentation done by the none other than the school head, Sir Francis. Um, why panoramic? Why I use the term panoramic? Because from the start to end, you have established a crystal clear direction, and the discussion was so in depth. Why? Because you have a well defined vision. Well, before I continue giving my observations and suggestions and comments, I'd like to share the screen first to my teammates, Sir Edwin Pineda and Dr. Arnel Poha. I have to call Dr. Poha first. Doc Nel, the screen is yours.
Hi ma'am, good afternoon. Good afternoon to everyone. Rinig po ba ako?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon Ma'am Llanera and Sir Jean. Good afternoon po sa ating mga teachers at ating external stakeholders. Sir, thank you so much for a very great presentation. No? It was the best presentation so far. Gagamitin
Yes.
ko na yung termong truly magnificent. Your strengths are in numbers. Parang basketball lang, no? Golden State
Oo.
Warriors. Now, no? Ang nakita ko, sir, no? Talagang doon sa lahat ng plano mo, 13 plans, from override to evaluate, you have a proposed success indicators. Then, on the last part, pinakita mo yung actual accomplishment or actual uh, success indicator na nakuha mo. So very evident 'yon from your presentation. Sabi nga ni Ma'am Win, no, detalyado, malinaw, klaro pa. Kumbaga sa basketball, may nanalo na. Uwian na, sir, no? Panalo na kayo, no? From the plans, the activities, success indicators, evaluation, feedback and monitoring and adjustment, nandun lahat. Wala akong maitatanong, ma'am. Talagang maganda yung presentation niya. Meeting, lahat nandun na. Again, sir, the rest of the team, congratulations po. And job well done. Number 1 po kayo sa akin. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, Doc Nel. This time, let's have Sir Edwin Pineda. Sir Edwin, the screen is yours now.
How can I ask a question, ma'am, if the planning research tip natin from the si Sir Poha kasi nga talaga pong data-driven yung ano natin. Saka gusto ko yung ano ni Sir, ni Artie sa dulo yung pronunciation ng mga words, di ba, ma'am, no? Pansin mo, ma'am, kung ang
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Pinapakitala na tayo ni Sir Jim, ma'am, sa English kasi kayo po ang English supervisor. Dahil biro lang po yan, kidding aside. So po, talaga po wala po akong makita kasi sa akin nga, nag-note po ko talagang yung mga partnership, tapos yung all-rounded na choices na mga bata, YouTube, FB page, web page. So lahat ng possible na strategies to get the attention, might be the accessibility to the quality education delivered by the school has been made by the school. So great job, well done, sir. Talagang siguro nga kung si sir wala na matanong, ako po saludo po tayo doon sa nagawa ng ganda po siya talagang wala po kung pinanood mo ito na movie, wala kang palalampasin na na part. Kaya lang ma'am, unfortunately dito sa office ma'am, parang hindi gano'n medyo nagbibitaw yung internet connectivity namin, kaya yung ibang part hindi ko na pansin kasi papalit-palit po ko data tsaka yung internet connectivity. Ano ko na lang sir, so siyempre po si DRMC, doon na lang po magtatanong kasi doon ako may case. So sir, ano po bang naging priority na natin doon? Kasi parang mayroong sa portion of budget nabanggit yung DRIPC, no? Siguro sa gamit, etc. for so ano po bang naging COVID-19 plans or response natin during pandemic? Siguro yun na lang po matanong. Pero sa curriculum, sa planning, sa SDM,
Kasi wala eh. Talagang sabi nga ni Sir po, parang nag-champion na eh. Meron na talaga tayong magandang nag-present eh. Talagang outstanding yung inyong performance. So doon na lang sir, siguro magiging curious. Pero overall, maganda naman po. Thank you sir, Jean. Thank you rin po sa lahat.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sir Edwin. Okay. So, to continue po with what my teammates mentioned, well, of course, our warmest congratulations to the people behind this particular presentation. Well, of course, there is no such thing as presentation as meaty and as wow as this if no one is leading the people. Okay, so considering that this is just an initial evaluation and presentation, the term initial itself, well, looking forward for more working in progress. Okay, so because of these wow PPAs that have been presented before us this afternoon, well, sabi nga ng ating kasama, si Dr. Nel, planning man na ito, talagang sabi, may nanalo na. Well, definitely. Okay. So I have used the term panoramic presentation earlier because of this wide and in-depth discussion that you have. Going back to the vision, there is no question really if a leader knows his work and if the leader knows the vision and he knows the mission. And that's one thing that Sir Francis possesses. Okay? Everything is procedural, and that's the reason why everything turned out to be systematic and that you achieved a smooth operation. Okay? Sabi nga nila, you have to start right. So you have to end right. I have heard you mentioned you already have applied LDM1 course. That's one thing that's admirable to this particular young and innovative leader because truly what is acquired and what is learned will materialize very soon. Yun po yung ginawa ni Sir. So, application of what has been discovered. Okay? So, broad dissemination of information, it's very evident din po. Management of data, yes. And what else can I say except that this strong collaboration that you have established, sir, both internal and external stakeholders, because I can see you on top already. I can see you on top already. What you need to do now is to sustain and if you can still have one step to raise the bar, because they say once you are on top, that's the most difficult thing to see, right po? Kasi once you are on top, you have nowhere to go to kasi nasa taas ka na except to go down. But my advice now is please sustain what you have started. And if you can still elevate it, even it's just for a bar race, then thumbs up for that. Sabi nga, may nanalo na. But yes, I agree. Noong sinabi po yun ni Sir, you have really dispensed the power all throughout the organization. You have empowered your people. And that's the reason why, because they felt that they were empowered, they have contributed everything they know. That's one thing that you really have to sustain din po, sir. Maganda ang inumpisahan, ang naumpisahan mo. Okay? I saw the practice of 5C's application. Strong collaboration, communication is good. Why? Because definitely the stakeholders, both internal and external, will not support you unless these PPAs are not communicated. it goes to show that you have disseminated information broadly. Okay? So please keep on doing what you're doing, sir. Okay? The professional development, you made it an ongoing activity, which is good because even if we are professionals, yes, learning is relearning, learning is unlearning, and we can say that because of your so mahigpit na guard you have guaranteed that your whatever the teachers are attending, whatever kind of seminars and trainings they are attending, talagang you ensure na yung application nito, sir, ano, kasi that's the best thing that you have started. Because even if we kept on attending seminars and professional development activities without us applying it, that's nothing. And in your school, it's evident. You really guarantee that everything is applied. Sir, continue doing that. And I have started with an acronym which is WOW. Working on an outstanding and wondrous projects, programs, and activities. And I will end it with another acronym. Siguro yung naandyan ng mga SPA sasabihin, eto na naman si Doc Quinn, talagang si acronym ito. I can say because of your panoramic presentation, Sir Jean, well, I have to go back, Nanay Teacher Enhancement Program, I will not ask questions. I have heard it. Okay, and so therefore you are ready with phase 2. Because by quarter 3, we are elevating it with key stage 2. Okay, so with the WOW acronym, I'm going to be ending my message with another acronym, which is WEAVE. A panoramic presentation in which you were able to weave all of these things. W, which stands for winning education through active and voluntary involvement. Please continue weaving the internal and external stakeholders because the learners of Sadges will go places. Guaranteed po. Having mentored and educated by these dedicated people who kept on weaving themselves, working as one, let's continue winning education through active and voluntary involvement. Thank you so much and congratulations, Sadges. Sustain and keep on doing what you are doing. Good afternoon.
Yes. All right, that's a wrap for our focus group discussion. Before we proceed to our next part of the program, we would like to acknowledge the presence of our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Sir Meliton P. Zorbano. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much. Our dear panelists, Doc, sirs, thank you po. And to our SBM Technical Working Group. May I call on this time our very own SBM Coordinator, Sir Mark Wilson Q. Jinga, for the closing remarks.
Excuse me, Ma'am Patty. I saw the name of our beloved superintendent, Dr. Sorbano.
Yes, sir.
Sir, welcome po.
Okay. Klaro yung aking audio. Good
Yes,
afternoon,
po.
everyone. Pinadala po sa akin yung link. Habang nagpipirma ay nakikinig naman po ako sa inyo. So, hindi ko naabutan buo yung presentation, pero anyway, yung remarks at saka yung comment nila Ma'am Winnie at saka ni Sir Arnel sapat na para napanood ko na rin yung kabuuan ng presentation. Yung message ko na lang, siguro 3 punto lang yung aking babanggitin. Sabi nga ito, initial gain pa lang naman ito, pero some sort of advice ba o kung ano man direction. So, yun nga part nitong ating ginagawa yung communication. So, napakahalaga po nun yung ating salient findings, yung data na na-gather natin should be communicated to teachers, parents, and other stakeholders. So data are just numbers. Kapag number lang siya, kapag walang analysis, walang interpretation, at kung hindi ito magbibigay ng direksyon dun sa patutunguhan ng paaralan. So natutuwa po ako kasi puro data yung nakita natin kanina. So sa totoo lang, kapag ang kwento is yung ano lang, no, tagumpay kami, ganito kami, without data, validated data, accurate data, complete data, ang sabi ko nga doon, kwentong barbero lang yon. So mahalaga yung data. Kasi sabi nga nung isang, I think that is an economist, sabi niya, if you cannot measure, forget it. So pag natin ma-measure, kalimutan na lang natin. Although may qualitative but qualitative should also be supported by data. Okay po, pangalawa po is what the data revealed should be followed by what action is to be taken. So laging ganon. Sabi ko nga yung data are just numbers, pero dapat ito yung magsabi sa atin ng susunod nating gagawin. So, yun siguro po yun ang medyo inabangan ko kanina, ano pa yung mga gagawin doon sa sinabi. Kunwari, pinakita din yung grade 1, maraming struggling. So, nagkaroon ng visitation. So, okay po yun. Siguro sa next report, ano ang nangyari doon sa mga struggling learners na yun. So, first quarter pa lang po naman yun. And then, siguro po, mahalaga din na yung ating target. Kasi sa amin, sa reporting namin, lagi kaming may target against accomplishment. So pag nagsagawa kami ng accomplishment report, yung mga pictures po, wala na mga pictures Ang lagi namin inaano is these are the targets and these are the accomplishments. So lagi siyang pinagbabangga. So at the beginning of fiscal year, kung ano mang school year, so lagi may nakaset na target. Ganon din po sa central office. So lagi sila may target and then periodically, ito yung accomplishment. So ito na maabot ba? Ano bang adjustment ang kailangan gawin? So lagi po ganun. So we base our accomplishment on our targets. So pwedeng na-surpass natin yung target at kung hindi pa na-achieve, ano pa yung pwedeng gawin. And lastly, kaya tayo nag-SBM, kaya tayo nagaganito, isa lang naman yung ating layunin, yung learner. So, walang kwenta ang lahat ng ating ginagawa kung at the end of our works, our program, may mga learner pa rin na nalalagay sa alanganin. So, we are working smart, we are working hard for the learners. So, ang ating end goal po, every learner is taken care of. So, walang may iwan, walang ganito. Learner lang, learner. Kung may ma-achievement na mangyayari, dapat sa learner. Our learner's achievement is our ultimate achievement. So, wala ang halaga yung ating achievement kung ang learner ay walang, ibig sabihin, napabayaan, walang nangyari. Ito isang halimbawa, data. Nabanggit ko na ito noon, pero banggitin ko na rin po. So natutuwa ako may school na lahat ang teacher outstanding. Parang isa, dalawa, tatlo lang yung very satisfactory. So lahat outstanding. So proud ako noon na ang mga teacher pala sa atin is yun nga, outstanding, meaning magagaling. Kaya lang pag ibinangga natin ang data with the learner's performance, so hindi siya nagre-reflect. Kunwari, una, maraming complaint. Pangalawa, ang daming bagsak na bata. Pangatlo, may mga non-readers. Tapos may mga something like that. So hindi siya nag-translate sa learner. So hindi natin sinasabi na hindi totoo yung sa outstanding. Ang binabanggit ko lang doon, baka may mali doon sa proseso. Along the way, baka yung proseso ay may mga na hindi nakitang iayos, so hindi nag-translate yung data doon sa learner. So dapat ang data natin ay magta-translate authentically doon sa learner. So yun po, congratulations ulit. Marami kasing nag-send ng link. So try ko ring puntahan para makapag-message din. So thank you very much, Sir Jing. Iayos nyo yung mga papel nyo. Kung pwedeng i-reclass, i-reclass. Kung merong, i-ano nyo na po yung kasi sa item po, kulang talaga yung item natin sa P1 eh. Ako man, gusto ko rin na ramdam ko ang nararamdaman nyo. Kasi for the longest time, kung may OIC sa Valenzuela, na matagal na, ako po yun. 2016 OIC ako eh. 2021 na OIC pa rin. So iba na yung OIC ngayon. Officer is confused. Word ni Sir Cabral yun, no? Kailan ibibigay yung Kasi kahit pa paano, tinatrabaho mo yung ng salary, pero hindi mo naman nare-receive yung payment, di ba? Yung hard work, yung gano'n. So, yun po. Ano naman natin yun. So, basta qualified, ipasa niyo yung papel niyo po. Ano naman yun. Wag lang mga may bigat kasi pag may yung violation sa kunwari, violation of DepEd policies, medyo mahirap po yun. Pag wala, pag clear po doon, so, yan natin yung what is due, ibibigay natin sa kanila. So, hindi ko na po, maglilib din po ako agad. Tambak yung pirmahin dito, sumingit lang po ako. So, sa lahat po ng mga teachers ng Sadges, keep up the good work. And siyempre, yung huling bili natin, every learner should be taken care of. So, pag may isa, kahit isang nalagay sa alanganin, ano po yun? Hindi natin natupad yung mandato natin. Kasi, yun po talaga eh. No child left behind. So, yun po. Kung may tulong man tayo, kung may pagkukulang ang gobyerno, pagkukulang ang pamilya, kung ano mang pagkukulang, doon nga po sa tula ko na hindi ako susulat ng 75. So, at least tayong mga teacher, kasi mandato natin yan eh, na yun, napabayaan ng magulang, tayo po is pangalawang magulang by virtue of the in loco parentis, in place of parents. So, yung pangangalaga sa kanila, iniatang din po sa atin. So, with that, thank you very much po, Ma'am Win, sa mga nag-panelist, sa mga kasamang guro, sa lahat po. Gandang hapon po. After this message, I will leave po. Papasok ko doon sa ibang presentation. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you po.
Thank you very much, Sir Zurbano. Sir Mark?
Okay, so to our panelists, co-technical working group in SBM, stakeholders, Sadges teachers, GPTA officers, SGC officers, HPTA mayors and pupils, good afternoon. So SBM is a restructuring movement designed to address a wide range of issues and problems on the local school side. So it may emphasize on teacher empowerment, increase professionalism, or in other aspects it might improve school climate. However, we should use concrete measurement criteria of student outcomes in their efforts to assess whether structuring efforts are effective. There are many reasons why we conduct SBM. Here in Santiago A. Dixman, it is my privilege to thank our SDO Valenzuela, especially in providing technical support, administrators, and our school community. Because of you, we were able to establish and organize SBM. We were able to close the gap between the pupils with enough resources to pupils with no resources. And to prove that anuman ang sitwasyon, anuman ang estado sa buhay, tuloy ang edukasyon. Again, a pleasant afternoon to each one of us. God bless us all.
Thank you, sir. Sir Jean. Okay na po. Okay, thank you, sir, and to everyone who joined us today. Thank you very much. To our dear panelists, thank you po. Maraming salamat po. And to our, to my dear colleagues, thank you very much po. So, that's it. That's the end of our progress monitoring and evaluation activity And once again, good afternoon, Sadges community.
Salamat po sa ating mga bisita. Salamat
Thank
po.
you po sa lahat.
Major, Lieutenant.
Major.
Thank you po. Congrats po.
Galera, Sir Poha,
Congratulations, sir.
Gade,
Salamat po.
Sir Pineda, sa ating mga master teachers, sa ating mga magulang, sa mga nanonood po sa ating Facebook live stream. Maraming salamat, my dear parents, guardians. I will end this po in 5. Happy working with you all po, guys. And stay safe po. 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you.